welcome, folks, to part 2 of our holiday special. Last week, our episode turned into holiday warfare between cryptids, as the Santa Squatch took on the Grinch Squatch. Alex has the notes for who's on whose team so far. We'll go over that in a minute here, but I wanted to say thank you all for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed part 1. I hope you enjoyed part 2 here. And I hope you all had an amazing holiday season here. Hopefully, only good things and everybody, no bad stuff this year. Some quick housekeeping after this. It'll be back to the normal episodes. And hopefully soon, I finally get the Greystone Manor ones done. There was a lot more to edit than I anticipated originally, so.
It didn't occur to me just now that, none of those have come up yet.
Yeah, a lot to edit there, a lot to go through still. So hopefully that all comes through. But without further ado, I am the Reiki Master and Medium, Andrew, who's our Reiki and readings. With me is Professor Alex Wheaton, our cryptid expert and overall jolly man.
Yeah, I'm even wearing my Christmas swag gear, which has on the back
Team shirts for whenever we go out now.
Yeah.
And all the way in not so snowy northern Canada is our everyday guy, the captain of the 7 seas himself, Tyler.
How we doing?
So, as you can pretty good. As you can see, we're recording in a little different locale today.
Festive AF.
The dog of plenty down here, so probably gonna be a lot of noise, a lot of cameo, and a lot of us telling dogs to knock their head off.
like that.
Right there.
That
So
was like perfect timing.
this is gonna be a fun holiday episode here. Before we get started, Alex, why don't you tell us who's on what teams here?
All right. So, recap time. Last time, we agreed that there were 2 Squatches that were facing off against each other. There was Santa Squatch, who believed in the good and the jolly and wanted to just simply belong to the rest of the world and wanted to give back despite being different. And then there was Grinch Squatch, who was angry at the world for not wanting someone who's different and decided to ruin all that is good in Christmas. And we had agreed upon, by the end of last time, that Santa Squatch does in fact have the elves as his elfin army. He has the 8 primary reindeer: Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen. He has Frosty the Snowman. That was a point of contention last time, but he does have him. Buddy the Elf is the human who stays with him. Oh, I forgot one thing that I didn't write down, but I'll get to it when I get there. We have Sam the Snowman. We have the forces of good really being on the Santa army. We have Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas being a character who agrees and is friends with Santa. We have Gingy, the gingerbread man, who has magic abilities to essentially Hulk out, who we agreed upon last time. We also have the homemade by our good old Captain Tyler, the North Pole Emperor Narwhal is on that side as well. The side. But the one I forgot to write down was that Santa's elf on the shelf is his network of spies that lets him know on everything.
The recon,
which led to the Grinch's creation of Santa, a artificial Santa Claus that acts as his reconnaissance. But for the Grinch, he has convinced Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, the fellow ostracized and put to the side fellow. We also agreed if Frosty the Snowman is a sign of good, Jack Frost is the bad side of winter. We also got Andrew's own main, the Appalachian Goat Bear, is on the team of Grinch. But the Grinch also has Heat Miser. He does have Bumble the Abominable Snowman. We agreed would work for him. He also would create the Nutcracker Army. That was another point that we said, which put the Rat King's army in play, but as a separate entity.
Yep.
And if Gingy the Gingerbread Man was working for Santa, the rest of the 11 gingerbread clan works for the Grinch because Gingy is the one that gets all the attention. So they're not quite happy with Gingy himself. So that's what we have so far. We also did say if Jack Skellington is part of this, that Oogie Boogie and his 3 minions, henchmen, Lock, Shock, and Barrel, are also rogue players out in the ether of Christmas battle for good and evil. But that catches us up to where we left off.
Thank you very much for that there. So, we mentioned a few that we have to go through today, but also, I apologize if it seems like I'm looking all over the place, because of the new setup, the camera's in a completely different location. You have no idea where anything's at. But then it's a beautiful face.
I know.
The problem.
It's awkward.
It is. Santa has the elves, but there was one thing that I was thinking of all Christmas Eve. Hermie the elf. Hermie the misfit elf is bullied by the other elves for being different because he doesn't want to make toys. Could the Grinch, when he gets Rudolph, get Hermie at the same time?
He wants to be a dentist, right?
Yeah. Grinch has gnarled teeth for the shit he eats.
From Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Hermie the elf. I'm like, who the hell is that? Okay.
Yes.
Hey,
That is happening.
are you?
I like that. Hermie, the dentist elf, is definitely on Team Grinch in the same way as Bumble.
Really?
Rudolph being on the team. With Rudolph being on the team, he can convince him, but he's not there for the Grinch. He's there for Rudolph.
Yeah.
Huh.
I
Heads up, I can't see you
Because,
guys
you know,
anymore. Just a heads.
what was that?
Just a heads up. I can't. You guys, your computers, your cameras down.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Over here. It's still recording, so.
There you go. Okay. It's just easier for me to interact when I can see you fellows.
Gotcha.
I agree. I think Hermie was on the Grinch's side, bullied for being different. So, and that one on my laptop.
There's some fucking bad warfare
There
there.
Those movies have not ended. Whoa. Alright. So yeah, that was just one that I definitely wanted to get out of the way right away. So, this time there's a few humanoids I want to bring up. But let's start with, the elephant in the room, Mrs. Claus.
What?
Clearly she would be on Santa's side, right?
Sure. You would think.
What are you thinking? And then I'll tell you what I'm thinking of Mrs. Claus over here in my brain. Mrs. Claus obviously would have to be a Sasquatch here too.
Yes. So, I can't help but think Santa gives toys to girls and boys.
Yep.
What does Mrs. Claus give to kids? No. Clothes.
Oh.
Does Mrs. Claus give clothes to good children or bad children?
I would assume good.
Homeless.
Bad kids get cold.
To homeless children, neither. She's a good Samaritan.
Oh. Does she not agree with Santa's method of only giving to the good children?
Oh. You thinking there's a little strife there?
I'm thinking there could be a little strife between Mrs. C and the big man. I'm not saying necessarily like she's a sign of evil or on Team Grinch, but I'm not willing to say that Mrs. Claus is wholly Team Santa.
All right. One thing I
That's
was
interesting.
thinking about Miss, when I thought that she was definitely Team Santa, I always pictured her as like the homemaker, baker.
Yeah.
What did we say got baked? Like the witch, like the gingerbread man. The way that clan killed the person baked. So that what sent them on the path to the Grinch.
So
From Gingy to Santa.
Are we saying that Mrs. Claus is out of the picture?
I don't know. That's just what we got to talk about here. Tyler, what are your thoughts here? What are you thinking on Mrs. Claus?
I'm kind of blindsided by the whole Mrs. Claus angle to begin with. I didn't think, the old lady up north would ever turn on the big guy. But here we are. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a plausible reason, but
If the
I kind of think,
clan
I don't know.
killed her, I guess the question is, does there have to be a Mrs. Claus?
I don't think we need her because I don't think if she's there, I don't see her in the midst of Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't see front lines with Santa and the elves and the reindeer.
I agree with that. I don't really see her. But I don't know. It's a good angle, though.
Yeah, and we got some talk in there. She'll probably come back up here, as
We'll keep her status unknown for now, but
this one might be a bit a fastball, if you will, but I think it would be bad to not possibly bring him up as an inclusion, but Jesus. He's one of the humanoids I was thinking of. But like he is the whole reason for Christmas.
Reason for the season.
bold take. Jesus is a neutral party. Jesus spreads the message of brotherhood and friendship and love. And while Santa's all about that, he's not like wholly against destroying the Grinch's army. He would be all about bringing peace to him. So I don't think he's fighting for Santa. I think he's a neutral party. True neutral. He is Switzerland. He is there going, you know what? Let's squash this beef so that we can come together.
I like it, but I will say I do like this AI-generated image of Jesus fighting the gingerbread clan. Pops up here. Switch over for Alex.
Oh my god. I love it.
Is he fighting him or walking hand in hand with them?
He's fighting him. He's kind of levitating him and throwing him all over the place.
He's using his godly magic.
He's using... But I like Jesus as a neutral force along the lines of the Rat King and...
He's playing referee.
After those are truly neutral. They're just... They're rogue. Jesus is neutral.
I can get on board with that. Tyler, do you have anything to add or argue about Jesus?
Yeah, I think Jesus is playing referee. I think you get the guy in the robe and put him right in the middle.
Not getting too offensive. Jesus is a Sasquatch.
I would like him to be.
Just put it out there. He is Jewish. Just keep it intact.
Speaking of Jewish,
God.
Ooh.
Hanukkah zombie?
Let's go with one more humanoid before we kick it into a totally different sector here.
Okay.
From 8 Crazy Nights. Whitey himself.
That?
No.
Oh!
Whitey, he's all about love and joy and stuff, so I feel like Whitey would be more on Santa's side because Santa's all about the good. But I mean, at the same time, the Grinch isn't really about evil. He's just about stopping Santa. So,
Yeah.
would Whitey's Jewish heritage put him on Team Grinch, or would his good nature align him with Santa?
So, side note, time out real quick. I'm glad you brought up 8 Crazy Nights, because after you said, speaking of Jewish, I was going to bring up the Hanukkah monster, where it takes a big crap on your pillow on the 8th night. Also from 8 Crazy Nights. Great minds think alike, just tossing it out there. Whitey is definitely fighting for good. Because he's...
I gotta put my head.
I cannot see logically.
Even as a proud Jewish person, he would not want to be a goalie. He would not want to be trying to stop other people from being happy. And I think he would see it as, Santa's bringing joy to these children. And he knows that stepping in the way of that would just make them sad. And Whitey doesn't make anyone sad.
No,
I think Whitey would be like Santa.
Yeah.
But the Hanukkah monster is definitely on the Grinch's side.
If he's taking dumps on people,
win another patch award. Whitey's trying to win another patch award at his annual All-Star Banquet.
Put the Hanukkah monster on the Grinch's side.
I'm not Jewish at all, but that is one of my favorite holiday movies. I watch it at least twice every year.
It's one of my favorites too. I love it.
Oh, and adult animation perfection.
Yes.
All right, so here, speaking of that movie, where does fucking Mrs. Johnson triple nipple go? Because she's kind of a cryptid with 3 tits.
Is there enough on her personality to put her on either side clearly?
Not really, no. I don't think.
Because I can't really think of her character other than the fact that she has 3.
Yeah. Even Mrs. Johnson would go on extra breast. What?
That would make her different, which would lead to her being bullied, which could give room for the Grinch to snatch her.
Yeah. But they do show her, I think there is one little snapshot where she is laughing at Whitey, so.
Oh, yep, there we go. And Whitey's basically half Grinch, half Sasquatch.
Yeah. My hand's in your mouth, kitty. Wow, feel no teeth.
All right. It's time to kick this in a new direction. Krampus.
Fuck yeah.
That's an easy one. I don't even need to argue this one. Actually, you know what? No, I do need to argue this one.
Because there are things where he's like Santa's partner.
Krampus is it's the classic argument of technically the devil is not wholly evil because he is just, part of God's army. He's the other half. He's meant to be the one to do that. So, yeah, Krampus being on Santa's side, he's the punishment for the bad children. So he's a Santa's secret weapon.
See, I like him over there. It makes sense, but it also makes sense to me him being on the Grinch's side, because if Santa's not giving gifts, Krampus can just punish, and now there are necessarily not any nice kids. It's
I'm going with he's on Santa's side.
You think he's on Santa's side?
I think he's that secret weapon.
It makes sense because without Christmas, there's also no Krampus not.
Right.
I think it's a weird thing to think of Krampus helping Santa, but he kind of has to.
He acts as that moral opposite.
I don't think he would necessarily want to, but I think he would see that he has to.
Yeah.
Because the Grinch doesn't want Christmas.
No.
So the whole Christmas would be gone if he wins. Krampus can't have that because now he's gone.
Yeah.
It's not the way I thought that was going. Now, let's talk about an all-time favorite brought up by the T-Man himself, Scrooge McDuck. I will add Ebenezer Scrooge is also on the list. So there are both of them. There's one problem. If you count Scrooge McDuck, that opens up the entirety of the Disney mythos of characters.
Muppet first?
Scrooge McDuck character.
Not
He's
Muppet.
not Ebenezer Scrooge. He's. Mm-hmm. Yep. They can all make their way in here. But Scrooge McDuck.
I'll tell you who's. It's obvious who Scrooge sides on.
Grinch.
No, Santa. The whole point at the end of Christmas Carol is that Scrooge learns to live in the moment and embrace the spirit of Christmas. And Scrooge McDuck lives a long life after Mickey's Christmas Carol. So I'm just saying, he's reformed. He is,
but I feel like even after Mickey's Christmas Carol, he's still all about that money.
He's still a miser.
That
He would fight for Santa, not against Santa. Because think about it. Santa brings gifts. That's free things. Things you didn't pay for. He pays for out of his pocket.
See
Interesting.
where you're going. Tyler, what are you thinking?
I don't really know. I'm still trying to process all this as it's coming in. Let's this war is taking a left turn.
It's taking a left turn.
We've got humanoids. We've got Jesus in there. We got and let's see who. I don't know. What could Scrooge McDuck bring to the table though? Just fucking flinging some gold coins,
Hey,
or was he just like an
Launch
ally
pads.
person?
He brings Launchpad. He brings Gizmo Duck, who does have that ridiculous superpower suit and everything. He brings the good old Huey, Dewey, Louie boys, as well as Wubba He brings a whole host, and if you really want to go really extended, he would also bring, connecting back to Jack Skellington, he brings Sora, Donald, and Goofy, King Mickey. He's bringing in the whole freaking Disneyland. Except for Pete. There's very few Disney characters that are wholly villains.
yeah. We'll leave Scrooge McDuck, I guess, on Santa's side for now. Pulling up next here, the Island of Misfit Toys.
Oh, that's a good one.
I was thinking Grinch.
Holy rich.
Same thing kind of with Hermie and Rudolph.
Yeah,
And Bumble. I just think once the Grinch sways Rudolph, it's easy for him to sway the Island of Misfit Toys. Hey, you're different.
Are you
You're
kidding me?
abandoned.
I think Rudolph's harder to sway than fucking an island of fucking things no one wants. I think they jumped right on board without even. There wasn't much discussion there.
He comes up, opens the car door, and they all just jump in.
Oh, yeah. It's like a reverse.
I mean, they got
opens
King
the door.
Moonraker, that lion. He jumped right on board. Now you got a flying
I
lion.
like the Misfit Toys.
You have a flying lion in your arsenal.
Yeah, Misfit Toys, they're all on Grinch's side pretty quickly.
Yeah, without like, hey, we're fighting Christmas. Deal.
Yeah, no problem. What about the train?
There are at least 2 conductors and a train man on Polar Express.
I feel like Tom Hanks is all of his character's whole thing there was all about pro-Christmas. I feel like they'd be on Santa's side. The whole Polar Express and the Polar
That's a
Express.
train. They have a freaking train.
They do have a war train.
Now, I'm just saying, because I watch the Polar Express. I watch it every year. And the Polar Express, that train is more than magical. I'm just saying, what if the train is sentient?
Ooh.
What if the train itself is alive?
That movie scared me as a
See
kid
it.
because the animation's creepy, and I never watched it since. So I'm neutral on this one. You guys can hash this one out.
Polar Express is on Santa's side, and I'm putting forward that the train may or may not be alive.
What about Tom Hanks? Is he alive in that movie?
That's a great question. That is a complicated. Tom Hanks playing Tom Hanks playing Tom Hanks playing Tom Hanks.
What?
There's a lot of Tom Hanks there.
Playing.
I don't know what started that.
Yeah, me neither. Alright.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take the Polar Express, but that was something that popped up that I wasn't sure if you had thought about.
So this is one that I think is pretty easily on Santa's side, but we can still talk about him here, is Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo.
Oh, yeah.
Who?
Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo.
I'm Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo. We just greeting all of you.
Oh.
His whole thing in South Park is basically being Santa.
Yeah.
I feel
that's
like
okay.
he was definitely on.
Yeah. Sometimes he's nutty, sometimes he's corny, and sometimes he's practically water. And sometimes he hangs off the end of your ass because he won't drop into the toilet because he's just hanging to your sphincter. And so you shake your ass around and try to get him to drop in the toilet. Finally he does. Sorry.
That's Mr. Hanky.
Yeah, it's very accurate.
So,
You're right, I can't fight that one.
nah, it just makes too much sense.
Hell, even South Park Satan was on Santa's side.
Back to some humanoids here.
Back to humanoids.
Harry and Marv from Home Alone and Home Alone 2. Feel like they're big time British.
Big
They like
time
to steal.
thing. Yeah.
I was put forward the Wet Bandits.
I feel like Grinch gets both of them.
I think Buzz on Grinch's side too. And Uncle Frank.
So,
Wet Bandits.
what's the Wet Bandit's primary job going to be? Is it going to be breaking into the houses and stealing presents for the Grinch?
Chaos.
Yeah, it's a little on the nose, but I think so.
Who on Grinch's side are they working with? Like, who rounds out their unit? Misfit
Buzz.
Toys?
Yeah. I could definitely see the Misfit Toys working with Wet Bandits. Maybe even Heat Miser.
Wet Bandits could
The
cause...
Gingerbread Clan.
Oh, the Gingerbread Clan with the Wet Bandits.
The Gingerbread Clan and Misfit Toys working with Wet Bandits. Oh, they're stealing Christmas. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see the battle between the Wet Bandits and Buddy the Elf.
Yeah.
It's a fight I want to see.
Buddy's definitely trying to convince them.
Wait, who?
On
Who's Elephant?
Buddy the Elf.
Oh, Buddy the Elf. I thought you said something about the elephant. My bad.
No.
My BG.
I definitely want to see that out.
Who needs
I think Buddy the Elf kicks their ass.
Probably does. I think the Wet Bandits would probably need the assistance of the rest of their clan to help outnumber Buddy.
Absolutely.
But one thing we
Especially,
never got to see.
what's that?
We never got to see the Wet Bandits in a situation where they're not being taken by surprise. In the Home Alone movies, they were always caught off guard by the traps and everything, so we've never seen them, going into a situation prepared to fight.
So do you think they're better off? Like they'd fare better? They would fare better if they had some time to prepare.
I think knowing they're going into a fight, they're gonna be a lot better off. They're gonna bring weapons.
They were successful bandits. They were just caught off guard by the crazy traps.
Yeah. So I could see them putting up a fight as long as you. Now, if Buddy the Elf if they're in a house stealing and Buddy the Elf, springs some traps on them, I think it's game over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fair.
Huh. Interesting.
Here's a little bit of a wow. That could be a neutral mercenary type. Could be Santa side. I could see an argument for the Grinch. It's a little tough there. John McClane from Die Hard.
Another lovely Christmas movie I've never seen. So again, neutral.
Sorry to hear that, Tyler.
I know, and I keep meaning to watch it every year, and every year I always forget.
Is John McClane just fed up with Christmas at this point? That he would be able to join the Grinch's team? Or is he more like a hired gun? But he's also a cop. So he wouldn't be on the team of stealing.
Redact that statement. What I would say is I think inherently John McClane would be on Santa's side. However, I do think he's more of a neutral mercenary, whoever is there, because you're right. He could be just tired of Christmas, and the Grinch's whole thing is just trying to stop the craziness of the season. Let's just get back to having a quiet Christmas time, a quiet winter's eve. And I think John McClane is on board with that. So I think he is a central, neutral mercenary. Both sides have potential to use him, but he doesn't really swing one way or the other.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Because he's not going to be the biggest fan of Christmas, but he doesn't want to be outright in the fight.
Yeah, he's not intentionally trying to stop or help Christmas. He's just kind of there.
What about Clarence the Angel?
From It's a Wonderful Life?
We have Jesus already.
Come on.
We know where Clarence sits.
Clarence is going to be trying to get his wings, though. But what's he going to think is going to be the best way to get them wings?
Helping Santa, because that's what's the right thing to do. It's a Wonderful Life, by the way, in case you're not sure.
So Clarence the Angel, I think fair on Santa's side.
Yeah, there's no argument on that one. It's a Wonderful Life. He fights for good, and Jesus being neutral. If we're going to give some holy individual on one side, it's going to be on Santa's side.
I can agree with that.
Absolutely.
But let's do Clarence's counterpart, the Angel Killer from It's a Wonderful Knife. Definitely Grinch's side. 100%.
I couldn't have compared to that.
The only thing, does the Grinch actively want to hurt anybody? Yes. Okay. So he would recruit him then. I was gonna say if he didn't want to hurt Santa and all them, he's not gonna bring in the Angel. But I think the Angel Killer, definitely on the Grinch's side.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely is causing some mayhem as he is just slicing elves' throats and killing with candy canes.
Well, lay down.
Let's talk about a different type of elf. All the way from Norway, Let's talk about the
Yeah,
red caps, the barn elves, sometimes known as gnomes.
Oh.
These little guys are peaceful as long as you pay tribute to them. The second you stop paying tribute to them, though, they won't help you, they won't work for you, they will actually try to kill you and cause mayhem in your life. So they're pretty neutral. You know, they're nice, happy, and helpful as long as you give them their treats. They have their own little Christmas traditions where you have to give them porridge. And if you give them the porridge, they'll help you through the rest of the year. All good stuff. But Grinch needs some numbers. Is the Grinch going and paying all the tributes to these neutral beings to get them on his side?
I would put forward
Absolutely.
he would do it,
Yeah, no reason not to.
but I'm going to put this little spanner in the works. While the Grinch would do it for the initial numbers on his side, he's not doing the upkeep. He is not long-term paying them.
I think he would do it until Christmas was ended.
Mhm.
After that, he might put somebody in charge of it. Like he might go to like Herbie the Elf and be like, "Hey, the red caps are yours." But yeah, I think he's getting those elves, those dwarves. My phone's over there. Where's my phone? It's over there. But yeah, I think he's getting them on his side, and what he uses them for is up to him. You know, he could try to use them to be murderous little shits, or he could just use them for, you know, additional stealing, theft, you know, blocking chimneys and stuff for Santa. But hey, I mean, he can use them for whatever he wants. I was excited to bring those little guys up. Good movie. If you haven't watched it yet, There's Something in the Barn. Has little elves like these in there. Great A movie. It stars one of my favorite.
What movie is that?
There's Something in the Barn. It also stars one of my favorite. Hey, it's that guy actors.
Ah.
The teacher from
Who's that?
Spider-Man.
Who?
The teacher from the new Spider-Man movies.
Oh,
Nerdy looking guy.
yeah, Roman something. There's Something in the Barn?
Yep. Fantastic movie. Megan and I watched it. Should have watched it 4 times. So this is just kind of like a fun little wild card, a little wrench, a little happy fun time that I wanted to throw in here just to see how it would roll. Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation. I think he's on Santa's side, but is he more of a liability to Santa?
He's liability.
Yeah.
100% liability.
He's got liability written all over him.
He was a liability for his own family.
Exactly.
I don't know how, but he is just disrupting Santa while trying to be the biggest help.
He is the Grinch's weak link to attack for Santa. That is what he is. That's his in into the army.
Santa says, "Go feed the reindeer," and Eddie's feeding him rat poison.
Yeah.
Santa says, "Take blah blah blah" to the elves, and Eddie's just ending up somehow accidentally killing half the elves. I think Cousin Eddie, good-natured, wants to help Santa, but he's just a liability. He's a mess up. He's a screw up.
Yeah.
He's kidnapping John McClane.
He's kidnapping John McClane.
Rather than inviting him to Santa's army, he's kidnapping him, which would force John McClane to join the Grinch's side. Like, that's the kind of liability he is.
He's trying to kidnap John McClane and Jesus.
Yep.
And it's just causing... And I feel like Santa, good-natured Santa, isn't going to tell him to screw off. But I feel like it's going to cause dissension amongst Santa's ranks, because everyone's going to see Cousin Eddie as Cousin Eddie, but Santa's going to be keeping him around. It's going to be like the Zach Wilson stuff with the New York Jets. A lot of problems.
A lot of problems.
At any point, Do you think Cousin Eddie is a big enough liability and headache that it could be the undoing of Team Santa Squatch?
Yes. And I think before that happens, Santa just gives him over to the Grinch. Just so fucking Santa can take him out himself.
I can see it.
A little mutually assured destruction.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's the nuke.
He's he doesn't know he's the nuke, but he's the nuke.
Yeah.
I was thinking about putting Clark Griswold in here, but he wasn't as fun as Cousin Eddie.
No, Cousin Eddie is its own mess.
Cousin Eddie, good man, great guy, horrible liability.
Horrible liability. One of the worst.
Can't have him around. I don't even... Are there any positives Cousin Eddie brings to the table?
No, zero.
Besides just, I guess, like a positive attitude all the time.
He does whatever you ask him to do.
That is
He's
true.
very literal.
He'll do whatever you want him to do.
I want my boss, Frank Shirley, brought over here, right here, with a big ribbon on his head. He did it.
Clark tells him, I want to buy your kids Christmas presents. His first response is, I want to buy you something. Clark put something on that list for yourself.
He does exactly what you tell him.
He's a good, kind soldier. Just, he's a liability out there. He's more Gomer Pyle than Rambo. Only Rambo had a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Gomer Pyle actually would be more useful. That's saying something.
So...
But you did mention Rambo. I guess Ernest would also be on Santa's side.
Ernest would definitely be on Santa's side. Holy shit, Tyler, you're back. See that coming.
No, that was a surprise. So, I don't know what other characters you have on your list yet, but I did remember an obscure feminine character that is mentioned in some Christmas songs and winter songs of the old days, and that would be Miss Susie Snowflake.
Ooh.
Tapping at your window to tell you she's in town. She's an ice queen. Susie Snowflake. Here comes Susie Snowflake, dressed in her snow white gown. Tap, tap, tapping at your window pane to tell you she's in town. Yeah. Yeah, she's very much like the female Jack Frost, but she's definitely a force of good. She's not an evil thing. She's not like, I want to see you slip and fall. She's just like, hey, I'm here. We agreed that Jack Frost is on the Grinch's side. Maybe not evil, but he's more about black ice than Frosty, who's about fun and merriment.
Yeah.
The one with Michael Keaton? Oh, that movie.
He's, yeah, very odd. Very, very odd. Doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
That, like, why someone will come up with that.
Magic Harmonica, baby. I watched it every year. It's hard. I didn't watch it this year, surprisingly. What do you got?
So, I wanted to ask, since Santa's a Sasquatch, is Saint Nick a different person?
Yes.
Okay. Is Saint Nick obviously on Santa's side, or is he going to be more neutral?
100% on Santa's. I can see where you're coming from. But we did put Clarence the Angel
Yeah.
on Santa's side.
And Saint Nick was about giving presents too.
Yeah.
But does Saint Nick feel any sort of resentment that he gets one night of presents and food and would prefer the big Christmas went away so Saint Nick's night could become something a little bigger?
No, that's putting too much of the malicious thought into it. I think because he's a saint, he's a good person.
Yeah.
Falls under the Clarence rule. Would be unfair to say.
One person that I just thought of, and I had to look up his name. Willie Soak from Bad Santa. He is the best. He doesn't have much Christmas spirit, does he? He is a fine man, which puts him Harry and Marv and Willie Soak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Grinch is looking at Willie, Marv, and Harry. He's putting the three of them on a team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wet Bandits are Willie's muscle in this situation. But, I mean, I think with brains and those two,
They always have.
they always have what?
Always have been.
They always do?
We don't know if the Wet Bandits are just the two of them or if they're working for someone higher.
Yeah, this is
We
true.
don't get any of that information.
No, that's true. No, I like it. That's a formidable threesome right there. That's a treat. I feel like that might be one of the Grinch's like higher.
Believable.
It is. I think I think if he gets an order, then no, I need you guys.
Looking up last minute Christmas.
There was someone else I was thinking of, but I couldn't.
What
I
movie?
think call me Gizmo, Christmas character, but I get it. But I don't see Gremlins.
Yes.
Yeah,
Gremlins. If Die Hard's Christmas movie, Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
all right, we'll throw out Gremlins here.
They're on the Grinch's side. Actually, you know what? No, Gremlins are.
I would say
They're a rogue army.
I would say Gizmo from Gremlins would be on Santa's side, a little nicer guy, or Jesus' side. You know, he's more neutral. But the Gremlins, led by Stripe, are just about chaos.
You mean Spike?
Spike, Stripe, they're both the same.
Yes, they are for sure a rogue faction. They're not even with the Grinch.
No, because the Grinch wouldn't be able to control them at all.
Exactly.
I think the Grinch would entertain paying them to go cause some chaos or letting them loose in an area, but I don't think the Grinch knows he can't control them, so he's not going to try to bring them in.
Exactly. They're just gonna cause chaos.
Alex, when we were talking about the characters here, there were a few you brought up that I've decided are worth mentioning here. If I'm not mistaken, Futurama had some holiday characters, didn't they?
I didn't. I actually already put them where I thought they belonged. The Hanukkah zombie is on the Grinch's side. Reason is because he aligns himself with Santabot more than anything else. The Santabot is the anti-Santa. He is more on the Grinch's side. But Kwanzaa is more like a neutral Jesus character because he's just kind of like, I'm here. This is what I'm doing. But if you're putting Santabot in there,
I'm putting Santabot in there.
he's on Team Grinch.
I feel like he is on Team Grinch. And that gives Grinch another powerful weapon. Because he just wants to kill.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's naughty. Although, I think the problem is that Santa Bot would also turn on the Grinch army. He's programmed to try to kill everyone who's naughty on Christmas.
This is true. So, Alex, read through who's all on Team Grinch.
Oh, okay. Team Grinch has Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Jack Frost, a synthesized being by the name of Santa. He has the Appalachian Goat Bear. He's got Heat Miser. He's got Bumble, the Abominable Snowman. He's got the Nutcracker Army. He's got the 11 gingerbread men of the Gingerbread Clan. He's got Hermie, the Dentist Elf. He's got the Hanukkah Monster and the Hanukkah Zombie. He's got the Misfit Toys, the Wet Bandits, the Angel Killer, the Gnomes. He's got Bad Santa. And we said that he would have the rogue Santa bot who would eventually turn them all.
And then, who's Santa got?
Santa has his loyal group of elves. He's got his 8 reindeer. He's got Frosty the Snowman, Buddy the Elf, Sam the Snowman, Jack Skellington, Gingy the Gingerbread Man, the North Pole Emperor Narwhal, his Elf on the Shelf Recon Squad, Whitey from 8 Crazy Nights. He's got Krampus. He's got Scrooge McDuck. He's got a living Polar Express train. He's got Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh. He's got Clarence the Angel in training. He has Cousin Eddie, who himself is a liability to whoever's team he's on. He does Ernest. He has Susie Snowflake. He has St. Nick, and he has Gizmo. And then there are still 3 rogue factions out there, which are the Rat King's army, Oogie Boogie and his 3 henchmen, and the Gremlins are their rogue factions. And then there's Jesus and Kwanzaa Bot, who are just, and John McClane, who are neutral parties that are simply there, and some may or may not get involved depending on what happens.
So, as we finish up here, Alex, which side do you think has an advantage?
Santa. Santa has the advantage, and as much fun as I've had with creating Santa and going through this and determining where these characters would fit into this larger universe, my money's on Santa. Santa has the advantage, and I think Santa wins this war. That's just me.
Tyler, what are you thinking? That's what I was leaning towards as well.
They don't like your opinion.
They are Team Santa. So, like I said, I was originally thinking Grinch, because that team, Uncle Eddie on Santa's team, is just destroying everything that he tries to do. But this almost feels like an eternal battle filled with nothing but draws and stalemates, because it almost feels like both teams can't really exist without the other one. Like, it feels like they kind of need each other to keep pushing each other to get better and better and better. And I think the Grinch always wanting to steal Christmas will force Santa to get better with delivering Christmas cheer and spirit and the presents, and it'll force the humans down here on little planet Earth to get more involved. Like, if they don't want to celebrate Christmas, that'll be like a victory for the Grinch, but then there will be the families that will always celebrate Christmas, and that'll be a victory for Santa. I think if they were to meet on the battlefield and go toe to toe, it's tough because Santa has a lot of supernatural creatures. But, like you brought up, rogue factions, and I think the Nutcracker army is going to give the Grinch a lot of numbers. The Grinch might win an actual battle on the battlefield. Let me change the conversation, though. Who wins a football game between these two teams? Jesus is the referee.
Let's see every play.
He's like a regular NFL referee.
And regular NFL referee? Grinch. They're cheating. They're... no.
That's true.
But he's only one man. He can't see every play.
He's the line judge. I think Team Grinch Squatch probably wins the football game.
I see them cheating.
A lot of cheating.
Balls.
A lot of cheating, and I think, the numbers from the Gingerbread Men and the Nutcracker Army, I think give Grinch a lot more disposable bodies on the field, whereas, Santa, he's got to use all of his people up, and eventually he's just going to run out of people. That's a tough one. This is a tough one. Let us know what you guys think between these dueling factions. Alex, any last thoughts on the holiday special and Santa Squatch versus the Grinch Squatch?
The Holy Holly Hail Mary play. Santa uses Cousin Eddie to switch sides and help the Grinch, bringing down the army from within. He knows that Cousin Eddie will fuck up. He knows that it'll sabotage and not go the way he plans. So the Holy Holly Hail Mary play is that by having Cousin Eddie switch sides, even telling him that he's a double agent, he's supposed to go in, telling him that, knowing he'll mess up, throwing the Grinch off, making him double check and go make sure that, no, I can't let any of this happen, lowers his defenses, lets Santa win. I'm just saying.
Hey, Grinchy. Name's Eddie. I'm one of those double agents that you hear about from time to time. You know what? So I'm here. I'm sorry, you're a what? I'm one of them double agents, Are you just telling me that now? Yeah. And he still would.
He knows that Eddie's gonna fuck up. So he uses that to his advantage. Keep the Grinch on his toes. He's going to feed him false information, knowing that he's going to report back to Santa. But Santa knows that Eddie can't do it right, so he knows that the Grinch is going to feed him wrong information. So he doesn't trust any of that information, does the opposite of what's being told. Santa wins because he's playing 5D chess. Cousin Eddie is playing ping pong.
He's taken Eddie's liabilities and he's making them into weapons. Because Eddie's the ultimate wild card.
That's my money. That's my final thought on why I think Santa wins. But no, in all seriousness, this was fun.
Tom, any other thoughts here on the holiday special or the warring factions from you? Yeah, we've got a whole slew of new holiday movies that came out this year featuring magical elves that may not exactly like Santa. And we're going to get a whole new slew of Christmas movies next year. So Lord knows who's going to be coming into these here. Seth Rogen might make his way in there from that one Jewish movie he was in. The night before, the night. That one.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the one where he's the Jewish man that was pickled.
I forgot about that one. I mean, that one might be too. But I agree. It was fun. These two factions, I think, will have to come back next year as we add more people and we figure out who's eventually going to win the Eternal War for Christmas. But Alex is kind of putting some interesting seeds out there that Cousin Eddie's liabilities might not be as bad as we initially thought. He could be sent anywhere and wipe out anybody by accident. But I think that does it for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe, and make sure that you comment which side you're on, and come back next time for some more sweet and sassy Who's Ghost Stories action from your favorite Paranormal Cowboys. Yeehaw! Stay in the light.